Hello and welcome back to Thinking Poker. This is our very first concept video, and today we're going to be focusing on bankroll management. But before we get into that, let me explain just how these videos are going to work. Basically, there's going to be about 2 a week, and they're basically just going to start off explaining a concept and the ideas and motives behind it. Then we're going to get into how it affects your game as a poker player. Then we're going to get into how you can fix that, and you can plug some leaks and save some money here and there. And we'll get into examples that I find myself in my own journey, and then basically close it off with some of my own experiences and tracking where I'm at in my UNL journey. Then I'll close it off by getting into the next day's topics, or the next video's topics, whether they're related somehow or not. I'll just sort of give a brief description on what's going to be going on there. And then all relevant information on that day will be provided in the description below, as well as my contact information, my Twitter, etc. So that'll all be there, and let's get started on this video. So, bankroll management. I think it's one of the very first fundamental things that a player should learn, because it's basically the difference between why most players bust a roll and why a small percentage of players are actually successful. The key is to feel comfortable, meaning you should never be playing out of your limits and always, at the end of the day, have enough money left to go for the next day, and then some, even if you lose a couple buy-ins, or 3 or 4 or 5, or even 7 or 10. I'm going to throw up a couple graphs here from an article, and basically they're going to show how much you should have for each level, and I'm thinking they're all around 20 buy-ins, which I think is alright for micro NL. But as far as the higher stakes, the higher you get up, the more you want to have. The higher levels you're playing, the professionals, they want to have more around 100. When you get to 50 NL, you should have at least 50. When you're at 25 NL, you should have at least 30 or 40s. So on. And micro NL, up to 10 NL, you should be able to start off with 20 to 25, as long as you're playing a positive or a plus EV game of poker. You should never really go broke on that. As you get higher up, the variance starts to kick in and gets a bit heavier versus the increasingly harder fields, and you'll notice your graph starts to get a little wild. That's why they recommend these limitations that constantly rise for your own safety. And the reason why most UNL players still end up busting their roll, even if they do have a lot of buy-ins for one micro no limit game, is because they will move up higher too quickly, and they just need that risk factor. Too many players just want to take shots. They want to play higher, and they want to make that good money quick. But what you should be doing is slowly making money and gradually adding it on to your bankroll and compounding it until it grows. And this may seem like it takes a while, but it's the correct way, because you'll always be comfortable and you'll always be safe. Think about it like this. If you're digging a hole, this is actually a backwards concept, but if you're digging a hole, say you have to dig 6 feet down, what are you gonna rather do? Dig 3 times, 3 big strokes, and just pull out a shit ton of dirt and throw it to the side? That's probably not gonna work. That's gonna be really fucking hard. Or are you just gonna take little strokes, dig little bits out over and over and over again, and even though it takes longer to get there, you're gonna feel a lot better. You're not gonna be in pain. You're not gonna have to stop as frequently, sort of thing. It's just gonna be consistent growth of the amount of dirt you dig out, or money, whatever you want to call it. You're consistently compounding on a little as you go, without risking your bankroll too much. And a lot of players, like I said, don't find the risk in this. It's too safe, and that's why they don't do it, and that's why they end up playing higher limits with a shorter bankroll and end up busting, and that's what kills most players starting out. So what we need to do to fix this is get over that feeling of wanting to gamble or wanting to make it big, and just realize that grinding is all about making money. Just like working an hourly wage, you're going to be slowly making money. You're going to have $1 per hour, and until you get up to 50 NL or even 25 NL, that dollar per hour is going to be pretty low. I think mine right now is $5 an hour at 10 NL, and I'm winning at over 12 big blinds per 100 hands. So, for example, when I was a MTT and SNG grinder, I always wanted to move up. I would grind out 90 man $1 and $2, and I was crushing them. I would cash up to $150 a day, more like usually like 20 or 30 a day, and that's actually great. But it took so many hours to play them. I wanted to move up to the higher stakes and really make money out of, the time I was putting in. So I went up to the 450, 180 mans, and it basically crushed me. I had a short roll, 50 binds, or you should have about 200 for that, and I basically got crushed, and I ended up losing my bankroll, and I ended up having to start over, and I ended up with a new backer and everything. It did not go well. And the problem is that I wasn't comfortable doing it. I wasn't comfortable in my role, but I did it anyways because I wanted to be successful. So sometimes you just gotta listen to your conscious mind over your will or your goals. And even at 10 NL, I found this. I was playing cash for about a couple weeks at this time, and I was confident I would be able to beat 10 NL, and I was for a bit. But the problem was I started out with a 12 buy-in roll, even knowing that my backer had more money, basically an unlimited roll. He told me that I could play off, but because the number was physically 12, I struggled for a long time. And even when I returned to 12 NL or 10 NL last month, I started again with $125, and I was stuck at the 130 to 180 range for so long because I would lose a standard 2 buy-ins in a day and basically lose my nerves on it. I couldn't keep playing, and then I basically just didn't have the bankroll to support my mind is what happened. I needed to have that clarity, that confidence that I wasn't going to lose my whole roll or all my profit. And basically I had to overcome that by I ended up switching to full ring, and I successfully grinded that up. And I just had to tell myself that even if I lost, I wasn't in trouble, basically. And eventually I've turned it into 300, and now I have a safe roll that if I lose 4 or 5 buy-ins in a day, it's not going to affect me that much. And that's what you're going to have to get yourself to if you want to be a confident and successful grinder. So let's review the rules again. If you're playing at 16 NL or under, depending on where you're playing, you want to start out with a bankroll of at least 20 to 30 buy-ins and no less. Don't start taking shots until you get over 50 buy-ins at that game. What I'm doing is I'm waiting until $500 or 50 buy-ins of 10 NL. Then I'm going to take what's called a 4 buy-in shot at 25 NL. So basically I'm going to take $100, 4 buy-ins, and I'm going to 4 table 25 NL to get used to the game. If I end up eventually running out of that 4 buy-ins, then I'm going to return right away to 10 NL. And basically what this does is secure my bankroll at 40 buy-ins at 10 NL, where I will never lose that because I'm succeeding at 10 NL, but I'm not risking it at 25 NL either. I'm only taking 4 buy-ins to 25 NL. And if I work that up and eventually become a consistent reg at 25 NL, that's great. But if I end up losing that 4 buy-ins even after 2 months of playing, I'm going back down to 10 NL, no questions asked. So what we're doing mentally is basically compacting that need to gamble and that want to take risky shots into a small 4 buy-in, basically a quick run, and then we're able to save our bankroll when we need to. And when I'm not doing that, I'm going to be just continually grinding, working my way up to that. So basically that's what your goal should be. You should figure out something like that where you have 20 or 30 buy-ins, and you try and work it up to a certain place like 50 buy-ins before you take a shot. And then from there, give yourself a limit, whether it's 2 buy-ins, 4 buy-ins, 5 max at the next highest, and just see how you do. And you'll eventually play that limit until you realize it's not that scary, and you end up having a 30 buy-in roll for that as well. and you'll continue to play at the high level, and that's how you improve through the levels. Most players will jump to a new level and play it until the roll is done, and that's just not smart bankroll management. So once again, you want at least 20 to 30 buy-ins at a cash game micro no limit level. And if you're playing MTTs or SNGs, basically any multi-table tournament, you're going to want at least 100, I'd say. That's safe. If you're playing the 180s, especially turbos, you're going to want 200. Those are usually the limits there. Alright, so that wraps up the very first concept video on bankroll management. I'm actually surprised at how long it took. 9 minutes right now. So if you're following my progress at all, I actually just broke over $300 in my bankroll for the first time, and I'm well on my way. I only got about 17k hands in this month, which is really weak. So for the month of July, I'm looking to put my volume up to 40k hands is my goal. It's 10k a week, and hopefully I'll be able to do it. So I'll keep you updated on that. And as far as the concept video for in the next few days, probably next week, I'm hoping to do 2 a week anyways. We are going into variance and basically what it does to you, what it is, everything about variance that you're going to need to know at the micro no limit stakes. That's going to be the next video, so check out that when it comes out. And if this has helped you at all, if you're finding this useful, then spread the word, rate, comment, like, subscribe, whatever it is you do. Post this video in any of your Skype groups or on Twitter or anything you can do to spread the word. The more people we get, the better this show will get. So if you're interested, please help me out here. Alright, this is Brad with Thinking Poker. Till next time.
Light, let there be light.